boyfriend's is September 29th.
Oh, we just know you're good. We just went live, so you're totally fine. All right, everybody, we'll catch up on that afterwards, Brandi. So everybody, I am live with Brandi Molitor this morning, and I totally just said the wrong thing because we were talking about how to pronounce her name. So Molitor, Brandi Molitor. And so we had a big discussion on all the different ways to pronounce her name. So we're going to talk this morning a little bit about what Brandi does and how she serves in her community, how she has come to find 52 connections. And Brandi, what has been, you came in later in the year, obviously. So what's been your experience a little bit so far?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, you've really attracted an amazing group of people. Everyone has just been so kind and outgoing and excited about being part of it, which has been really fun. And you're just, I just think you're amazing and such a warm and committed facilitator and someone who's really, really committed to making the connections and being there for people. And your communication is just amazing. And so I just love, I mean, you're somebody I feel drawn to, and I can assume others feel that way too. And so you're a big part of the why it's been so great also. And the people that I've been able to connect with one-on-one, everyone has just been so cool and so fun and so open and just, there's an energy and a connection there that there's like a similar resonance, which is awesome.
You have been a light in the group for sure. So thank you. I'm glad that we connected early enough advance that you were able to come in and join us midway through. So
yes.
And you sent me an amazing bio of yourself. So I'm going to read through this. I was giggling so much. It's perfect. So I'm going to read through this and let everybody know a little bit more in your bio here. So Brandi is the founder of Courage and Joy at Work, a coaching, consulting, strategy, and operations company that works with high achievers who want to realign with their core desires, giving them the freedom in their lives and businesses they wish they had in the first place. She does this through customized coaching programs, helping people recognize the systems keeping them trapped in more, better, harder, and not enoughism, while making room for the emergence of community, slowing down, sustainability, and wellness. Her clients refer to her as a bit of a peace whisperer, and I can totally see that. Brandi's been in the coaching and wellness space for 20 plus years, hailing from upstate New York, and she's been growing smitten with the mitten the last 7 years. I thought that was really cute. You can usually find her hiking, rocking out to music, road tripping, meditating, sitting in circles with people, talking about life and being a decent human, writing, reading copious amounts of books on spirituality, brain science, trauma, and business, experimenting with smoothie recipes, and trying to convince her Eastern and functional medicine doc that a full French press of coffee is so good for her. It is. It is good for you.
I know, as I'm working on the end of it here.
Cheers. Cheers to the French press.
Cheers to you.
Okay, so that was really, you do a lot of work, and I've talked to you a few different times about the different work that you do, and I'm always inspired with how broad and how like the ways that you can work, but also like so specific and detailed with the people that you work with. So can you tell everyone watching that hasn't met with you before, maybe just only knows a little bit about you, how do you take a client and help them get unstuck from what they're doing? What does that look like for your clients typically?
Yeah. And because I've been in this work for so long, and I started out as a geologist, believe it or not, in my previous life, and then working my way into wellness, and then going into business coaching and mindset and personal development and all of those, I was really able to see the interconnectedness of all of the things. And so it's a bit of a holistic approach. I know that word can be a little overused now, but I really believe in the interconnectedness of everything. And so if people, I find, especially in our society, have these compartmentalized lives, there's like the business part, the home part, relationship part, and everyone's trying to master like a certain thing in their life or their business because they're getting advice on like that specific thing, right? And so when I start working with clients, I really get into like their core desires, like what is it that they really want? And I think so many people, and it's super standard, I mean, it's almost as if we've been given a blueprint, right? And everyone just kind of takes on the blueprint, like get married, have 2.5 kids, buy the house, do this, do that, enroll your kids in all the sports, like do all of the things. And it just becomes really overwhelming. And it's like, hang on a minute, do I really like doing this? Does this really line up with how I want to live my life, or how I want to parent, or how I want to run my business? Does this really work for me? And people go to conventions and they go to conferences and they're talking to colleagues, and you might be in an industry where people are gunning really hard at expanding and growing and creating multiple offices or practices, or trying to reach these income levels, and you get caught up in that race with other people and you compare. That's what, I also say, like, comparisonitis. We all suffer from comparisonitis, myself included. I have to get myself coached out of it all the time. Like, is this what I really want? So the biggest thing to get unstuck is to really work through what is it the person really, really desires, and then get to the root of those desires and see too if they really align with what they want and what they're looking to create, or are they fulfilling somebody else's vision for them, which could be a parent, could have been a mentor, could have been a previous, teacher, professor, guide, their partner in life, husband, wife, partner, whomever, a friend they were really competitive with back in college. I mean, we get these stories going in our heads, and then we're like fighting to prove something, right? Or to achieve something. And I find more often than not, people are fulfilling somebody else's dream for them. And it could be even society, like what society is telling us we should be doing, right? And so that's the beginning. And when they feel the liberation and the freedom of being able to create life on their terms,
Yeah.
and how to integrate it with what they already have. It's not so much they have to throw everything away and start all over. Sometimes it's just minor tweaks to give them the permission to find that sense of being unstuck.
I've seen some of your posts and some of the things that you share, and one of the things that really has stuck out to me is the vulnerability pieces that you've shared. And I think that is probably, and you can correct me if I'm wrong there, and maybe it's a space where people have to come to you as a client. Do you find that I'm thinking of myself as you're saying some of these stuff of where we think that we need to go in the world, and where we feel like, even from so far in our past, where does that come from, where we feel like where we need to be? And I think there's such a big piece of vulnerability where we can just put all that down and kind of acknowledge where some of those things are from. How do you work with people through when there's such a part of their past, right, that's directing a lot of this, and it's been directing for so long? How do you have someone show up with vulnerability and start walking them through the process to move into that path that they're really wanting? How do you find that?
Yeah. Well, so many people I've noticed are terrified of judgment, and they're so afraid of like being really seen. So many people live in this space of, if they really knew me, they wouldn't love me. If they really knew me, they wouldn't like me. If they really knew me, they wouldn't respect me. They wouldn't want to work with me. And so there's this fear, thinking that someone's all alone with their thoughts and how their feelings. And I can always tell, I mean, some people in the very beginning are an open book and they're just like, I need somebody to tell all this to, right? And then some people are a little closed off in the beginning, but there's an attraction because it's like they want that freedom, but they're not there yet. And so honestly, I find that if I share more about myself first and create like a safe space and share a little bit about my own struggles, because one of the things I'm super committed to is that, a person, you are your own guru. I don't believe in gurus. I don't think there's any gurus. I don't think that like I'm any better than anyone else, or that there's a hierarchy. I might have kicked the can a little further down the road in like one area of my life. And I joke that like I might have a certain set of superpowers that I want to share with you, but you have your set too, right? Yeah. So you want to learn a little bit about mine. I'm learning from you too, as a client. And so it's this spiritual exchange. I really see it as. And so I start to share, you know, some of my journey. I share, I still have coaches and mentors and therapists and, you know, a community that helps me. And so sometimes I'll share my own breakthrough and that, like, hey, you know, I'm going through a huge breakthrough right now, transformation with my dad. Here I am at 45 years old, and I'm like, okay, now I'm uncovering this stuff, you know, and but that's all right. And so I'll share a little bit about that, and they'll see themselves in me,
Yeah.
and it opens them up a little bit more, and they realize, oh, this is a safe space where I can come and be myself, and she's not going to judge me. And I'll also say, I love, like, I had a client once who sometimes would say, hey, can't meet right now, because they were angry. I work with a husband and wife team, right, in business, and sometimes they would argue and they would delay our session or reschedule, and they would later say, hey, sorry, we were fighting right before your call and we just couldn't get on. And I was like, oh, next time, get on the call while you're fighting, because this is the stuff, this is the juice. And they were like, okay. So now, like, they argue, you know, here and there still, because they're in business and they have big full lives, and, like, you know, there's stuff that comes up, and they bring it to the session, and he'll say his part, she'll say her part. And it's like that. I always say, come to this, if you're angry, come to the session angry, or let it rip. You know, so many of my clients will get on and they go, I'm so sorry, I'm really ticked off right now, and they're just saying things like, I shouldn't say stuff like this. I'm like, no, this is the meat, this is the good stuff. Because when somebody really has their guard down and they just say what's on their heart, I have the skilled ear to listen to what's really being said. Like, I'm not listening going, oh my God, they're so mad, how unenlightened are they have feelings and emotions. You know, it's like, I'm not over here going that. I'm listening for what's really underneath what they're upset about. So I have the ability to look at it that way and
Yes.
find versus judgment, right?
Yes.
So I think that's like a really critical piece. And I've never, ever, I mean, to this day, I think I've probably heard almost everything I could possibly hear. Never have I been, oh my God, you know, it's like, oh, look at this human being a human, you know?
I think that's great. And I think you brought up a really great point when you said, you know, come angry, come upset, like, because we have this perfectionism right inside of us too. We don't want to let that guard down. We want to come prepared and show up, as even if we're in coaching to fix something, or with help, or asking for help, but we still don't want to show all the broken pieces. We still don't want to we don't know how to get to the root of it. And you coming in alongside of us saying, just exactly show up with the emotions, show up with the problem, show up with the concerns, the questions, everything that's getting in your way of it, and help us unblock some of that stuff. It's always so revealing when those things happen. I know been a part of coaching sessions where I felt like I was coming to the table with nothing. I was like, I don't feel prepared. I don't feel like I've done anything that I was supposed to work on. I feel like I've done 100 other things. But in bringing that was identifying where I divide my work. You know, it was showing me so many revealing pieces of why I did that and how I showed up that way. And I think you have such a great, like, just output and energy about you that allows people to just open up. Like you said, you share some vulnerable spaces about yourself, and you just are a connecting person. And I think that shows during those first few sessions with you. And I know it has during our first few conversations with you, where it just felt comfortable and peaceful. Like, there's no judgment here. This is just a very safe space to share. So, and I know I have, worked on some potential collaborations with clients, mutual clients, and I have seen and heard of the work that you do already with them. So I do hope that people take a moment to reach out to you and find out more about how you do your work, because there's a lot of partnership potentials in this group with you as well, because of the vast different industry and organizations that you are able to work with, and the type of coaching that you do. You're able to come alongside of some of these other services and really work in a different way. So I hope that people take a look at that. What is the best way for people to find you and reach out to you? Do you want them to do a discovery call with you? What would be the best way to, like, sit down and kind of unwrap some of the stuff they want to talk to more with you?
Yeah, if somebody's interested in working together, I always recommend doing a discovery call, which honestly could be anywhere from an hour to 90 minutes. And there's no charge for that. It's always really my honor to connect with people. And, I just say bring it all to the table, and gives me an opportunity to learn about them. And if they're looking for just the personal development piece, or if they want personal and business as well, we can dive into that. And then what I do, because like you said in my bio, I do customized coaching plans, because because I've been in coaching for a long time, and I've worked for others where there were these like packaged, rigid coaching plans, right? And like I said, we're all human. There's a lot of nuance, there's a lot of context, and I don't want anyone to ever think like, oh yeah, here you go, here's my cookie cutter program, and you have to fit into this box. Like, I'm listening and hearing what is it that they really need, where can I see the work to be done. Sometimes it's a 3-month program, sometimes it's a 12-month program. And we work together, and I want them to agree to it as well. Like, hey, does this feel good to you? Does this sound good to you? Did I get it? Do you feel seen and heard with this coaching program option? And usually it's yes, right away, like, whoa, I had no idea. Like, you really saw me and got what I was looking for. And so that's why I love the discovery call, because they're sharing openly. I'm taking notes. I'll ask a couple questions that I might need some clarification about. And then typically what I do, it's not a sales call at all, because I'm not into that. On that discovery call, I'll sit with it, usually for a couple days. I let it go through my own internal processing. I'll meditate on it. I'll sit with it. I'll walk with them in my mind and in my heart, and try to figure out what I think will land. And then I make a proposal over email. And then I want them to sit with it. And that's why I do it over email, because I want them to read it and sit with it. I don't want them to feel pressured to give me an answer on a call. Because I want I honor everyone's process. So there's been times people have emailed me right back, like, heck yeah, let's do this. And there's been times it's taken people 2 weeks before they reply, and they say, yes, I'm ready, let's do this. Right. So I'm really open to people's pace and their process, because I do believe everyone has their own time and their own process and what they're open to receive and get. And it's a very tender space, because I work with business owners. I also work with people that don't own businesses and just want the personal development piece. But for those that are looking for business help, strategy, operations, really uncovering that feeling of being trapped by their own business. People build these amazing businesses, and then they feel entirely trapped. And that's a scary, scary feeling, because their lifestyles become dependent on it. They don't know what the heck else to do with their time in their life. They feel like all these people are dependent on them. I mean, there's just so much stuff, right? And so for them to really have the courage, and that's why courage is part of my business name, because I was just recognizing over and over again the amount of courage it takes to like just take that first step. And that's all I encourage people to do, is take the first step. Don't think of the end game, because 10 out of 10 times the end game you're envisioning doesn't happen anyway.
Right.
And I always say, the same mind that created the problem is the same mind that's trying to solve the problem. Right. So that's why it's helpful to get outside help and new set of eyes and a new mind to look at it, because your best, as they say, your best thinking got you here. So don't try to solve your problems you're creating, because it's the same mind that has the limited view of who you are and what's possible, right? So get somebody in there to help you out. And sometimes it's just like I said, it could just be a short thing, or it could be a longer thing if you're really getting a lot out of it. But so that's what I encourage people to do. Yeah.
I love the same mind that created the problem is the same mind that solved the problem.
Yes. I even say for my own stuff, I always try to stay out of the attic, There's only broken toys in the attic.
I have to say that a few more times and really sit with that one too. That's great. I love that. Okay, so for 52 connections, what's the best way for them to reach out to you? How do you like to prefer an email or a phone call or text message? How should they reach out?
Yeah, I would say text or email. So I think we have my info on the spreadsheet. Yep. So text or email. Calling is fantastic. I'm just a little slower to get back to phone calls. I even have on my voicemail, if you can text me instead of leaving a voicemail, do that. Because I can read a text anywhere, but voicemail you have to actually listen, such hard work. But so I'm much faster on text text first, email second, phone call third. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I encourage you all to take a minute and watch this video with Brandi, and then reach out to her, connect with her in 52 Connections, spend some time getting to know her to learn if maybe she's a good fit for you, someone that you know, one of your clients, one of your patients, one of your customers, one of your donors. Brandi has a great way to work with all people, and she obviously has such an authentic way to do it and just filled with courage and joy. I love this. And I love the time that you spent with us this morning. And is there anything you want to leave us with before I sign off, Brandi?
No, I mean, that's amazing. If you're not already in 52 Connections, you should do it. And then, yeah, and just that you can have peace. I think that's ultimately what I try to accomplish with people too, is rewriting your script for what success looks like. And you can have all the money in the world, but if you're not experiencing peace, it's really hard to enjoy it. So yeah, so that's my mission in life, is to bring peace. So that's what I'm committed to doing. So if you're interested in that, hit me up.
Text, email, don't leave a voicemail. It'll take a while. Text her. All right, you guys, thank you for watching. Whether you're watching now or later, let me know, and then hit Brandi up for some more information. And Brandi, I'm going to end our live stream, and then me and you can chat.
Okay,
All right,
awesome.
guys, thank
you.
you.